Today is Wednesday, June 3rd. Welcome to this edition of Nevada County Now. Today's episode, we're talking new COVID cases, Penn Valley fire vote, teen town hall, and more. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Nevada County Now. I'm your host, Cole Pettit. Our top story tonight, Nevada County Public Health now lists 6 active cases of COVID-19. All 6 of these new cases are in eastern Nevada County. In a statement released by Nevada County Public Health, they say 5 of the residents are closely connected with a common exposure, and the 6th was a person who had no symptoms. All are adults residing in eastern Nevada County. All have been notified and are isolating. In addition, household contacts are in quarantine. Public Health Director Jill Blake said, although our hospitals are prepared for a surge in COVID-19 cases, we have case investigation and contact tracing process systems in place and more testing available, COVID-19 remains a risk to our community. Those who are more at risk for serious illness due to COVID-19, such as the elderly or those with underlying health conditions, should continue to stay at home as much as they can, as well as limit their exposure to others. It remains important that we continue testing as much as possible. There are 2 OptumServe testing sites available, one in Grass Valley and one in Kings Beach. Doesn't matter whether you're symptomatic or asymptomatic, you can be tested. People who get tested at these sites will not be charged for the test. For those with insurance, your insurance will be billed, and for those with no insurance, the state will pay for your test. Increased testing allows for a better understanding of COVID-19 in our community. Even without symptoms, testing of all individuals can help identify those who are asymptomatic and may want to take extra precautions to protect others in the community. You must pre-register and schedule your appointment. In yesterday's show, we showed you how to schedule an appointment through lhi.care/COVID testing, but you can also call 888-634-1123. Be sure to have your appointment authorization number when you arrive at the testing site. Tests can also still be conducted by doctor's offices too, but you do not need your physician's approval to be tested at the OptumServe site. I will be getting tested this evening, and we will show you that process in Friday's show. It's also worth noting the conditions that would force us to reenact tighter restrictions. In the county's attestation to move further into Stage 2, they were required to include what conditions would trigger a tightening of restrictions. This chart lists these conditions separated into categories of epidemiology, healthcare, and public health. It includes such things as a significant increase in new cases over 3 consecutive calendar or workdays in the context of no substantial increase in testing, more than 4 unlinked chains of transmission in a 14-day period, or 10% or more of systematic contacts fail to get tested or get tested in more than 48 hours of symptom onset. In the document, the county notes that stricter mitigation measures should be considered when 1 or more criteria in 2 or more columns are met, and the tightening could include in-dining restaurant closures, return to curbside pickup, childcare closures, restrictions on some outdoor recreation, and if there is a large surge, may consider a return to the strict stay-at-home order a la Stage 1. Don't think anyone wants a return to these restrictions, so let's all do our best to ensure that doesn't happen. Follow the public health guidelines if you can. Wear a mask or face covering in public, wash your hands often, and practice physical distancing. You can read the whole document yourself by visiting mynevadacounty.com/coronavirus and scroll down to local resources and click Nevada County Attestation for Readiness, Readiness Plan. Yesterday evening was the deadline for Penn Valley parcel owners to cast their parcel assessment ballot, which will determine whether the Penn Valley Fire Protection District will get the funds to hire and retain an additional 6 firefighter paramedics to reduce response time. Today, the League of Women Voters of Western Nevada County and a representative of Penn Valley Fire will collect the ballots being held at Penn Valley Post Office. Ballots will be sorted and given to the Nevada County Sheriff's Office for safekeeping until Saturday morning when they will be tabulated. They expect to announce the results late Saturday afternoon. The county, in partnership with UBNet, is hosting another town hall, this time focusing on teens in our community. It takes place tomorrow, Thursday, June 4th, from 12 to 1. We'll have several panelists, including Chris Espadell, Director of School Safety from the Nevada County Superintendent of Schools Office, Curtis McMillan, Clinical Supervisor from the Nevada County Children's Behavioral Health, Jen Singer of the Friendship Club, and Hallie Ellis Edwards of NEO, amongst others. This event will be live streamed on YouTube. Send your questions in advance to townhall@yubanet.com. To register to participate, visit the county's Facebook page. At the Union this week, we're looking into how this pandemic has affected our schools and how they are dealing with it. Let's continue with my interview with Union reporter Sam Corey. And so from who you've been talking to, what do the cuts look like, or is there any sort of across the board plan for that, or is it sort of more school district to school district how they're trying to deal with that?
It is. I mean, these are done. These budgets are done by the school boards and done by administrators who work with the school boards, principals, superintendents, what have you. Or I shouldn't say principals, but superintendents. They it does. So it does look different per school district. However, again, Darlene Waddle has a few recommendations that when I talk to administrators, they're like, yeah, these sound really good. They are first, if you have open positions, just don't fill them. If you can, make cuts of hours before you make full-on layoffs. And then when you do have to make layoffs, cut as far away from the classroom as possible. Try not to affect teachers and students like learning that process. You want to keep the classroom intact so you don't sort of disadvantage kids. You want them to be able to keep learning and growing as they were in any other time. So those are the things that she recommends. And for the most part, school districts, administrators are like, yes, absolutely. We're trying to take those into account. I know some classified employees have already been laid off at certain school districts. Some of that was even before the pandemic hit us. So yeah, those are the general things. But as one of the key things about this, Cole, is that it's not just this, or I should say, it's not just next year that they're worried about. It's future years down the line. How bad are we going to be hurt in 2, 3, 4 years, as opposed to just next year? So those are some of the concerns.
Gotcha. And so have you run into any sort of creative solutions or plans for solutions at this point in general that people are talking about or thinking about?
Yeah, it's such a good question. It's something I ask administrators. I always ask them, like, hey, is there any room for hope here? Is there anything that's better? Listen, I mean, if the federal stimulus package passes, that's really going to help out schools. A lot of them, not all of them, because some of them don't get Title I funding. But it'll help out schools in a decent way, but they'll still be hurt. It's funny, I did talk to Darlene Waddle about, like any sort of financial instruments that schools can use, anything that they can do to try to help themselves out. I mean, and she said, they're in a bind. In the past, like from the Great Recession, what they learned was furlough days. We can use furlough days, and like that will help us get through. But right now, they're in a really tough position without a whole lot of answers. And administrators are saying, as was in the paper today, Brett McFadden said, oh, I can't see the bottom. Like, I don't know how bad this is going to get. And that's kind of what they're walking into. So it's really tricky. And also school districts, unlike the federal government, which can go into debt and, the sky doesn't fall, school districts can't do that. So they really are in a tricky position to try to move forward, stay financially healthy, and also protect their kids and their schools. And so it's tough.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it sounds like in a lot of ways, just like with much of the rest of us, they're in this weird sort of waiting game, trying to see what the large governments are going to do, whether that's the state or at the federal level or anything. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. And they're all, constantly collaborating. Superintendents across the state are, but also superintendents locally have been constantly talking through this pandemic, trying to figure things out as they go along. I mean, this is not something that any of them have dealt with. This is not something that anyone of them learned about. And that goes with distance learning that had to have been done like fly by night sort of style within a week's time, if less time. So, a lot of this is totally unprecedented, and there's certainly some anxiety and stress, but they're working on it. And I guess more optimistically, Darlene Waddle said, we're gonna. I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but she said we're gonna have schools. Like schools will continue. We don't know what this is going to look like, but they will be around. So that's kind of where they're left.
Okay, well, that's at least somewhat encouraging. And, I think if anybody's going to come up with creative solutions and do something like that, it's going to be our educators that are out there doing it every day, trying to come up with different ways to keep our students engaged and always looking for creative solutions. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, thank you for joining me today, Sam.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cole.
Thanks again, Sam. Be sure to visit theunion.com to read his articles. He's written several this week covering multiple aspects of this topic. With so many events being canceled this year, we're all having to get creative to keep up. Since the 4th of July parade has been canceled, we here at Nevada County Media are hosting a virtual parade. We will be filming over 2 days to keep the number of people down to ensure every participant's safety. If you're interested in participating, visit our website, nevadacountymedia.org, to get all the details. We'll leave you tonight with some footage of last year's parade, which we filmed and produced. Be sure to join us on the 4th to enjoy the celebration. And remember, stay safe, take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, I thought he was carrying a trumpet, but now I can hear it's a bell.
And he doesn't seem that sad to me for a crier. You would think a crier would be emoting a lot more.
Oh.
$5.
$5.
5,000 for militarians here in Whitewater Willie.
And here comes Whitewater Willie.
Whitewater Willie.
Whitewater Willie.
Now, the Rotarians are going on for a second here, Wendy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Also
Thank
going
you.
to the Orange
And boys,
Yeah. What is that?
Union Hill School Marching Band.
Union Hill.
Director. Also on board is her grandmother, the 1979 World Frisbee Champion and Gold Country Yacht Club's Vice Commodore, Teresa
I
Gammon.
tell you, once you're the World Frisbee champion, I think it goes downhill.
Where do you go from there? Where do you go? Can we take this?
Let's hear it for the Nevada County Democrats. Please go to
Oh, the dinosaur! Look at that dinosaur.
I've read about $2 fighters, but they actually won't be bonding.
Okay, I'm
That day.
very glad to know that. I am right over the flight path of the airport. I would be very nervous.
Vintage and
These girls know how to have fun. I'm impressed.
and those hats are heavy.
They're very heavy.
They're not
They're not
the
light.
light hats.
No.
Those are